Okay.
So that starts. So hi, Jaco. I'm
Yeah.
Cassie, and she's Ellen, and we will start interview. So let's start from the first question. So,
Yeah.
can you briefly introduce what Peter Tobacco is about? For example, the products, the services, or the mission or goals, something like
Mhm.
this. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for contacting me. I mean, we are a small company from the north of Spain, northwest of Spain. Actually, it's in the just really close to Portugal, in the corner of Spain, and basically we are a manufacturer of marine equipment, uh, specialized in water treatment. So basically, what we do is equipment to treat water, so can be used on board of vessels. You know, it could be for drinking or for industrial use. You know, it's basically what we do.
For the following question, how long have you been operating in Taiwan?
Well, we recently started to work with Taiwanese companies, but I can say that around 2018, 17 is when we started to work in the Taiwanese market.
And what did the company see in Taiwan that motivated operate here?
Well, it's several things. Actually, the place where we are in Spain has been always related to the marine industry. You know, it's a really mostly of our area is surrounded like for water, and since ancient time our people has been fishermen and has been related to the marine industry. So for us, we know for a long time Taiwanese Taiwan is a real strong country, and especially in fishing industry. So we know that in Taiwan maybe could be a market for us, and that's one of the reasons. And of course there is other reason, and okay, Taiwan has several of the strongest shipyards in Asia. So basically both things. First, that we know since long time that Taiwan is a really strong country in fishing. So if there is fishing, there is vessels for fishing, and should be some requirements. And also that there is a strong vessel building industry that is also important for us.
So do you think with your company operating in Taiwan, do you think that Spain's relationship with Taiwan is kind of strengthening with your operations?
Okay, this is a
It's kind of a
difficult question.
diplomatic
Yeah,
question.
it's a difficult question because, of course, when there is international relationship between people, in some way there is always yeah, the bonding in both countries is it becomes stronger, you know. But okay, we are a small company, but of course, I always think that now you are doing this interview to me, so somehow the relation has been improved. So at the end, I think Taiwan for the regular Spanish people, it's a little bit unknown, you know, because there is always this yeah, China is so big, so people tend to center focus on China, but Taiwan is like less known for the Spanish let's say average person. But I think that if more Spanish companies come to work in Taiwan, there will be yeah, the country will be more known in the Spain. But in any way, I would like to also highlight that Taiwan is well known not only in Spain but in all the Europe, you know. But yeah, in some way, I don't think that that a company, a small company like us, means that the relationship in both countries will be stronger. But I think that if small companies like us work in Taiwan, means that the big companies also want to work in Taiwan. Taiwanese companies also want to work with the Spanish companies. So in some way, I would say that indirectly, yeah, for sure, it will means that the relationship is stronger. But
For sure, for sure.
Okay. And next question is, through what kind of opportunities does your company provide that contributes to strengthening the economy relations between Taiwan and Spain? For example, like having more employment opportunities for Taiwanese, or like having more chances, the business chances between Taiwan and also Spain.
oh, of course, Taiwan is, if you talk about Asia, it's a really good country to work with because, it's like, let's say, more European country than other countries in Asia, that for us it's difficult to having relationship because, yeah, each country has its own singularities, so it's always difficult to come from a foreign country and try to do business with with a different country. But I would say that, of course, if our company is capable of improve our business in Taiwan, for example, Louis companies can hire more personnel. So at the end, it's both for both companies. We are cooperating here, so we can have more people working for Taiwanese projects, and in Taiwan, our counterpart could have more people working in order to, lead our relationship in the shipyards and with owners and stuff like that. So, of course, we are not talking about a big corporation, but I think as the business is going, for sure it will be opportunities for both companies in order to hire more people, and that relationship in both countries is better.
Oh, yes. Are there any ongoing projects that the company is currently working on that you think can contribute greatly to Spain and Taiwan's relationship?
Well, actually, I think yes, because, for example, some of the projects we are working with Louis companies are for Taiwanese owners that actually belongs to the government. I mean, for example, the Coast Guards and stuff like that. So at some point, when for example, our company works in many shipyards around the world, and some of our business is to do, for example, military vessels or vessels for the Coast Guards, stuff like that. So if a country allows your product to be on their vessel, which is going to be used for military purposes or something like that, in some way it means that the relationship between countries is good because, for example, I have been working in the projects for the military in Korea, in China, in Singapore, in Spain, in Europe, and some countries, as they say, okay, I can allow, for example, the equipment from this country, from this specific country, on my military vessels or for my Navy vessels. This cannot be allowed. There are some bans for some countries. In this case, I can say that being Spanish, we never face a country that says, oh, Spanish products, we cannot allow. I think it's because we are small country with not many enemies. So it's I think in some way that the Taiwanese public corporations allows our equipment to be on the vessels that are going to be used for the coast guards and stuff like that. In some way, means that the relation between countries is good. There is no bans and stuff like that. So I will say that in a general way, that yes, that our projects in Taiwan in some way means that the relationship between countries is better or is good actually.
So the next question will be, what are the strategies of your company toward the like industrial distribution toward the world and also toward Taiwan?
Yes, okay. This is more of a sales question, and yeah, it's always an important question that the company, when it has an international strategy, needs to think about. I mean, how I'm going to work with different countries, and I was saying before, with really different peculiarities of each country, because in my line of work and in my position of work, I have to, well, before COVID, I have to travel a lot around the world. I have been actually twice in Taiwan. So yeah, it's very difficult, and it's not the same when I work with, for example, when I'm talking with a German customer, or when I'm talking to Luis in Taiwan, or when I'm talking to my agent in Japan or in Korea. It's not the same. I mean, the people have different ways of thinking, different ways of do business. So let's say, especially, of course, if you are a big corporation, it's pretty easy. You open offices in each country, hire local people, and that's it. But for a small country like us, you have to think about how do you want to work. For example, in Europe, that our, let's say, relation with our European partners in the European Union is really close. There is no borders. Let's say the business is really easy to do. Let's say we work directly with the customer. Our customers normally are shipyards or vessel owners. So in Europe, we normally directly work with the customer, because I was saying before, okay, if the customer is French, German, or Italian, yeah, of course there are differences between each other. We have different ways of behave, but let's say the way of doing business is quite the same. So not really difficult. For example, for us, South America, there is everybody speaks Spanish like us. So doing business in South America for us is quite natural. So in this country, we have in some countries we have our own offices, like in Mexico or like in Chile. But in other countries, we have agencies. And then when you move to the east, especially in the Middle East, in India, and in the Far East, we normally like to work with local people that know the business, that know how to deal with the customer. Because, for example, in this case, when we are preparing a quotation, Luis always give me advice. Oh, you should not do that, or you should do this because customer like this or like that, because it's different in each country. And of course, if Luis can speak the local language with the shipyard, and it's always better. The communication is always better. And I would say the same for other countries. So normally what we do is, okay, look for a company that has experience in the marine industry, that has some relationship with the local companies in the marine industry. And okay, we try to have a cooperation. And when the cooperation starts, if everything goes okay, there is some business. But it's not always easy. In some countries, it's actually very difficult. But it's the way for a small company like us. Locate a country where you want to operate, find a company that has been in the market for a long time, try to establish a cooperation, and from that point, try to do some business. It sounds easy, but it's actually not that easy. But it's the way we do it.
Also relating to business side of questions, we're just wondering, do you have any, or what is your best-selling product or service in your company?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying before, we manufacture marine equipment for water treatment. Okay, and when I say water treatment, is basically get the seawater and make it drinkable, or if it's not drinkable, make it able to be used on the inside the vessel. Okay, so let's say our main product is the reverse osmosis water maker. and this is in order to get the seawater, which is very salty. It's around 37,000 ppm, means milligrams of salts per liter. Okay, so this is obviously very salty. You cannot drink it, as everybody knows. So you have to separate the salts and make it drinkable. And there is several ways to do it. One of these ways is through reverse osmosis. Well, I think that everybody knows what is osmosis. It's when you have two bodies of water with different concentrations of salts, and there is communication by a semi-permeable membrane. Naturally, there will pass water from the less concentrate to the more concentrate in order that both solutions get equal. And this happens naturally in the nature, you know. Actually, in our own bodies, we have a lot of semi-permeable membranes. But when you want to make it the other way around, it's pass the salts to one side. So in one of the sides you have drinkable water. You have to do it by pressure, applying pressure to the same semi-permeable membrane. And okay, I don't want to get really technical, but it is basically what it is. I mean, you get salty water and change it to be drinkable water. And okay, it's not the main equipment on a vessel, because of course in the vessel there are engines, there are stabilizers, okay, equipment that is really expensive and it's very important for the vessel. But being not really critical, it's very important, because of course the people on the vessels need to drink, need to get showers, need to get the water for many uses. So yeah, basically it's that a reverse osmosis machine that can produce fresh water from salty water from the sea. This is the main product.
Okay. And the next question is, because due to the current state of the global economy, we all know that we face the challenges of the COVID-19. So what kind of challenges that your company face in this kind of period of time? Yeah.
Well, it has been yeah, very difficult a difficult year and a half for everybody. All the economies in the world are suffering, you know, and at the beginning of the pandemic, we were really yeah, worried about what will happen to our business. Well, there is of course some markets for us that have completely dropped. You know, one of the main consumers of fresh water in the marine industry are, for example, cruise vessels. In a cruise vessel, you have a huge amount of people inside the vessel. I mean, we're talking about 5,000 people, 8,000 people, and all these people drink, all the people get showers, need a lot of amount of water. So one of the main customers for us were companies and shipyards that were building cruise vessels. As you know, now the cruising industry is completely stopped. So it also happens to the cruise construction. Okay, the construction of vessels have been canceled in most of the shipyards all around the world. So of course, this has been really difficult for us. But in every situation, every time that there is an issue, there is always an opportunity. So what happened in this pandemic? Okay, the cruise industry has been, let's say, stopped. I mean, it's like all the cruises in the world are now stopped on the ports, not working. But what happened during the pandemic, and what happened is that the people started to consume more food. You know, because everybody is yeah, doing food at home, and we in many cases, in many countries, there are curfews, so people start to cook and do more stuff, blah blah blah. And what happened? The request for fresh fish has increased a lot. So there is more construction of fishing vessels. So we have many projects for fishing vessels now. So yeah, some of the business has dropped, but some of the business has raised. So of course, as a company, we like that all the business is going up, but you have to be, there is a balance. So okay, for now we have let's say stopped the production of machines for the cruise industry, but we are doing a lot of machines for the fishing industry. And of course, it has, since I'm working in the marine industry, it has happened all the time, because some years ago we have also the crisis of the oil, and it's the same. When the oil is up, many companies build vessels for the oil industry, but okay, if the oil is so expensive, many other companies cannot build vessels because they cannot operate the vessel. So there is always a balance, and you have to be flexible. And if you focus a lot on in one specific market, then you will suffer. But if you are flexible enough to say, okay, now this stop, but I can focus on this other thing, then your company can survive. So in my opinion, this is the message after the COVID, and you have to be flexible and you have to adapt every time to the market.
Okay. So in terms of economic development in the future, what is the Peter Taboada company looking forward to in the future? For example, more investment opportunities in Taiwan or other regions?
This is also a complicated question, you know, because we are a small company. It's not like a corporation that have 10-year plans and stuff like that. Okay, so for us, it's like we just want to be alive, you know. We just want to survive and get the project so we can hire more personnel, and that the company is still going up. So, but I can say that like every other company, what we want is to grow. Okay, we want our company to be better and to be bigger. You know, this is always behind all companies. So this is now our target. Okay, the problem is no thinking what I want to be, because as I said, everybody wants to be bigger, everybody wants to be better. The problem is how I can be bigger, how I can be better. This is the real tough question, you know. And as I was saying before, if you ask me 2 years ago, I would say, oh, we have to build more units for the cruise vessels, because this is the future. Everybody is cruising. Because if you think about when I was, well, you are obviously young people, but I am a little bit older. And when I was a small kid, when I heard about a cruise, it's always for rich people, you know. You think about cruise vessel, rich people. But now, cruising is for everybody. It's actually cheaper than getting a plane and going to a specific country. So, in my opinion, how the world is now, how we have in the last 10 years, at least in Europe, we have passed through 2 or 3 big crisis, economic crisis, due to banking, due to COVID, to the oil prices. So I think that all these 10-year plans and all this stuff, in my opinion, is just words, because nobody can predict what will happen. And in the last 10 years, yeah, the world has been changing so much that it's very difficult. I mean, I remember that, yeah, my father, for example, he works all his life in the same company. The world was easier, you know. I mean, the world was not changing so much. So you can have a job for a long time. So yeah, my father, when he was my age, he has already 3 kids. His life was already settled, you know. But for my generation, it's completely different, and for your generation, it will be even tougher, you know. it's very difficult now for me. I have only one kid. I have been in at least 5 to 6 companies now. For sure, this will not be my last job. And it's now, as I was saying before, we have to be flexible. And now I know that I'm working on this, but maybe in 5 years I working completely different thing, because the world is changing so much that I think it's very, very difficult to predict the future now. It's really complicated.
Okay, so the last question is, like, in terms of the stronger economic relations, like what can both the Taiwanese citizens and the Spanish citizens look forward, like, from your company?
Okay, it's now really tough question, but if I think it about how the economy is now, and now the country, it's I'm talking about Spain. It's a tough situation. We suffer a lot due to the COVID. A lot of people lost his job, and I think that everybody is looking forward and try to, be a better citizen, and our company also, our what we want is, if we are able to grow, if we are able to get more business in Taiwan, in Korea, in China, whatever the country, we will be able to hire more people, and maybe some people who is unemployed now can have a job, and he could be, he could support his family. So it's a small small contributions to the economy, because we are not a really big company. But I think it's important, because every job counts. When a country is in a difficult situation, if you can have a person who is struggling, cannot find a job, and maybe has 1 or 2 kids, and it's a difficult situation for the complete family, if you can provide a job to this person, you are actually doing a big contribution to your country, to your economy. So in my opinion, this is in the short term what we should focus. Get more contracts, become a bigger company, try to provide more jobs, and if it's good for us, it will be good also for our Taiwanese partners, and maybe they can hire also some more personnel. So in my opinion, this is it's quite difficult actually, but I think it's what we should focus in the short term.
Okay, thank you so much. That's all of the questions.
Thank you for the interview. That was very informative. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. We're very grateful.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. I'm really happy. I mean, that you find it interesting. It's complicated, because we are not talking about a big corporation. It's a small company with 45 employees. So it's not like, we can make a big difference. But as I was saying before, it's difficult times for everybody. So if just one person can find a new job, I think it's also important.